Well, hello. This is part 2 of the Beatitudes. It's actually the second Beatitude. Now, this took place, I think, on the first Sunday we were allowed back to meet in real life. So it's a bit of a mishmash. What we tried to do this Sunday, back in the day then, was to try and do a hybrid Sunday morning. So we ended up with this kind of strange setup. So anyway, it's not great quality. I mean, obviously the content is amazing, but the quality of the film isn't great. But here we go. It's the second Beatitude. Blessed are those who mourn. And we've actually used some material from the 9 Beats Collective, which I'm a big fan of. They do some really interesting stuff. So we have included some of their videos in this because we played them on that Sunday morning. But also, if you look on our channel for the Beatitudes for Chelmsford Baptist Church on YouTube, you'll be able to follow the links and see their other comments on the other Beatitudes, and they do some very creative and interesting stuff. So take a look. But in the meantime, here we go. It's the second Beatitude. Blessed are those who mourn. I don't know about you, I'm finding the Beatitudes quite beautiful. I don't know, I mean, I've known them all my Christian life, and I've never really paid them a lot of attention. But there's deep spirituality going on there, isn't there? There's something that operates on a level you can't quite, I don't know, you just can't get it across. Anyway, it is Matthew 5. It's a short reading. Blessed are those who mourn. God will comfort them. How simple is that? I mean, we thought last week about the bigger picture in terms of the Beatitudes. But anyway, we're going to listen to a piece of music now. This is a choir singing. I'm just going to check what the name of the choir is, if I can. This is putting the Beatitudes to music. And if I was more organised, see, I would have... oops, I don't want to do that. I would have... I mean, this is all live, so obviously I would edit this out. I should edit this out, really, shouldn't I? I'm not going to, because, you know, here we are what we are. This is called Blessed Are Those Who Mourn by Daniel Naggs, and it's sung by a choir who you'll see credited in a moment. It is on YouTube, which is where we're playing it from. But just listen to this. Get in the zone. Blessed are those who mourn. Well, that was nice. Meditation on those words. So now we're going to hear from the Nine Beats Collective. I haven't watched this yet, so I'm going to watch this now, and then I'm going to come in and comment what I think about what he said as well afterwards. So feel free to add your comments to that. Obviously, I can't respond because I'm in the past now. But the blessed are those who mourn is at this point, before I've watched that video, I think it's a beautiful way of God saying, you know, because I think in a sense mourning is probably the lowest you can get, isn't it? Because you can have problems with yourself and in your own life and with the way that you do things. But mourning is something you can do nothing about because it's a loss of someone else. Something has been taken. And I know there's something very raw about that as human beings. Mourning is perhaps the lowest, most painful point I think we can get to, certainly spiritually, and I think for a lot of people they find physically as well. It hurts, doesn't it? It hurts. So I think that God recognizes this, that Jesus recognizes this, and God says, I'm with you in that. This is why I guess I have trouble with a frivolous church, where it's all about, isn't God great, everything's great, we have the victory, all this kind of stuff, which I don't disagree with, but that's not most people's life experience. Most people's life experience is joy and victory, yes, but there's also there's deep valleys that we go through. Anyway, let's hear what they have to say about it.
Jesus said, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." Our culture is based on the pursuit of happiness. But does trying to be happy actually make us happy? Many difficult things happen in our lives, and hearing someone tell us to just cheer up rarely helps. We live in a world of wonder and great beauty, but also a world of difficulty and great tragedy. When someone close to you dies, or when you hear about the latest bombing, the only thing that makes sense is to grieve. If your heart breaks and you don't take time to mourn, the pain only goes deeper. The sadness ends up leaking out in other ways: anger, stress, physical illness, depression, or dependency on some kind of escape like food, entertainment, alcohol, drug use, or some other distraction. We human beings have always looked for ways to escape, distract, or numb ourselves from the harsh realities of life. We live unconsciously running from pain. Maybe we run because we think that all that there is despair. But as anyone in recovery knows, running from the pain doesn't help. So this beat invites us to stop running, to face our pain. In ancient cultures, people knew how to mourn. They tore their clothes. They poured ashes on their heads. They sat in the dirt and raised their voices in lament. Sit down right now, wherever you are. Put your head in your hands and reflect on these questions. When you look at the world, what breaks your heart? What do you see that grieves you and makes you sad? Name it out loud. And what about you? What's broken in you? Where do you feel loneliness, sadness, disappointment, and pain? Speak it out loud. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Brokenness and pain are not the end of the story. Jesus invites us into the reality that even in the middle of difficulty, if we have the courage to name and sit with our pain, we may experience comfort and solace. So today, we face our pain. We choose the way of lament. We sit and weep, and we wait for comfort.
That was quite good, wasn't it? We should book him, shouldn't we? Perhaps we could do that for a moment. Just sit for a moment and acknowledge what grieves you. What sadness you feel for the world, and what sadness you feel for yourself. And remember, it's not wrong to feel sad for yourself, because when you're hurting, you need to acknowledge that fact. Not pull your socks up, not cheer up, not get on with it. There is some truth in those statements, but not the whole truth. I guess I've learned, it's not quite mourning, I suppose, these last few months even, I've learned to acknowledge when I'm sad about things. And the old me, the old version of me, would be, oh, that's a bit pathetic, isn't it, feeling sad? But you know, sadness is a powerful, deep thing, isn't it? And I've learned to acknowledge that sadness. I mean, I'm still a work in progress, very, very much. But like he was saying, we kind of, this culture is everything's got to be happy. We're pursuing happiness. As long as I'm happy, as long as my kids are happy, as long as my friends are happy. And again, the danger is all these things, and then none of them are wrong, but they become idols, don't they? They become icons, and we think, well, I have to be happy. If I'm not happy, then my life is going wrong. And that's not the case, because life is joy and sadness. Sometimes, weirdly, at the same time. And there's our unity as a human being, the physical and the spiritual and the mental do. They kind of weave together, don't they? If I'm sad, physically it will show. Mentally it will show. Jesus calls us to be whole, real human beings, and that means accepting the harsh realities of where we're at and what's going on. So I like it. He says, stop running. Just sit in the ashes and mourn. And we've known this as a church, haven't we? We had people that died in tragic circumstances. I guess they're one of the things that have, melted my heart. We've learnt to lament. That's guess why I like the Halloween season, All Hallows Tide, because it's a time when we can acknowledge our sadness and say that is a time to be sad. This is a reality of life, but it's not the whole thing, and that's where I want us to draw it. Lament is not everything, because God will comfort us. In the darkest of times we will find that God comes alongside us. Let's watch a short film based on the way of lament.